Hey everybody, welcome back to Board Game Blender. I'm Z Garcia, and today we're going to be talking about games that for one reason or another we thought we were not going to enjoy. That might be because of the theme, it might be because we've experienced other games with perhaps similar mechanisms before and they were not to our liking. But it's an interesting idea, this feeling of not wanting to try something that's meant to be fun because you think you are not going to like it. And something that you already know you enjoy. It's not like trying a brand new hobby you might not like, knowing you like this hobby, and still not being sure you're going to like a game. And then realizing there is a lot there to enjoy and it fits your play style very much. So we're going to be showing you some of those games today, and I would love to hear from you in the comments, games that you experienced that with. What did you have a worry about playing and then realized upon playing it that it was a great game and you enjoyed? All right, so without further ado, let's kick it off. I hope you enjoy the episode and find at least one new favorite that you can check out, and maybe it's something you doesn't look good to you and you'll find out, hey, I do like it. So here we go.
Hi, we're Chris and Lindsay from Behind the Box. You know, board games are a lot like cream eggs. The first time I ever heard about a cream egg, I thought, that sounds really gross. Who wants to eat a raw egg flavored thing covered in chocolate? But then I tried one and it was delicious, and now I love cream eggs. So every so often you get a board game that is like a cream egg. You think, I'm really not going to like this, but then you try it and you love it. So we're going to talk about those games today.
Yeah, for me, that game was Entropy Worlds Collide. So I'd read wrong information about this game online, and so when we got sent this game to do a review for it, I was not looking forward to it. I thought, it sounds like it's going to be a drag, it's not going to be very fun, we've got to get friends around to play it, and they're going to be like, why would you? So we finally, at the time, thought we were biting the bullet, we're going to play this game. By the time we were done, it turned out to be one of the best gaming experiences that we've had in a really long time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Coup meets Not Alone. You get like a really basic hand of cards of really simple actions, and if multiple people play the same action on the same turn, then neither of them get to do that action. So there's a lot of mind games, a lot of trying to plan out what are they going to do, how am I going to counteract it. If I think I know what they're doing, do I want to block them or avoid them? Mm-hmm. Such an amazing game. And we got the expansion with this as well, and that adds like a legacy campaign element to the game, a really simple one. But you go through the book, and we didn't know this was in there. And page by page, it tells you, right, read this page, and then stop, play a game, make a note of who won. Next page, play the game. And in the end, somebody becomes this big, awesome bad guy that everyone else has to team up against. And all of a sudden, it's a one versus many game, and we just weren't expecting that at all. And it blew our minds. It was such an amazing game, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, this kills Coup for me. So if you love Coup, check this game out. It's fantastic.
So for me, it was Kingdom Death Monster, without a doubt. I'm not a big fan of the theme and the difficulty of the game, how long it takes to destroy these monsters that you're fighting. I did not think I was going to like it at all. And your brother bought it, and it was like a year of building up to when we finally actually played the game. And I was just thinking, oh, dreading it. I was not going to like it. And then it got to the table, and I loved it. I still am not a big fan of the theme and the difficulty, but there's something about that storytelling element, the community building, that's just spectacular, and it really resonated with me, and I really enjoy it. In fact, we're about to go play it with him right now. We're going to have a gaming day over at his place, so I'm really looking forward to it. I enjoy our talks that we have afterwards about the adventures that we just had, and yeah, it's so memorable.
It is, yeah. It's like a little RPG. Yeah. After you finish a session of RPG and you talk about all the crazy stuff that happened. And yeah. I think I was a similar one. I was cautiously approaching that game. And yeah, we both really enjoy it. So, if you want to know more of our thoughts on board games, come check us out at our own channel and our own social media. And if you have games that are like this for you, your cream egg game, let us know down below. We love getting discussions going and talking about it, and we just want to hear what you have to say about it. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for having us on. This has been our first ever Board Game Blender. We can't wait to do many more. And until the next one, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris, and this is the Teacher's Lounge. Now if you're like me, you tend to prefer your games not so big and heavy that they could cause a concussion. But also if you're like me, you end up teaching a lot of games to your friends and to your family, so the Teacher's Lounge is where we talk about teaching recommendations. This game that I did not think I was initially going to enjoy is titled A Feast for Odin, a Viking-themed worker placement game by famed game designer, farm enthusiast, and probably mad scientist Uwe Rosenberg. This is his biggest game to date, and what surprised me is that I actually really enjoyed this on my first play. I found it for cheap, I bought it thinking that I could review it on our podcast, sell it for a profit, and come out a happy, richer man. And instead I kept this game because my wife and I both actually really love it. I was surprised that it's a pretty organized system when people say, hey, there's 63 worker placement spots. Isn't that mind-blowing? Well, it's actually organized very well by row, by family of actions, and by column. Each column costs an extra worker that you have to place out, 1, 2, 3, or 4 if you want to take those actions. It's surprisingly organized. Your personal player board is a bit of a game of patchwork or Baron Park where you have to lay out different tile pieces onto here and cover up different spots, cover up negative victory points, and build a cool Viking society that earns you lots of points. So, what is my teaching recommendation for a game that has 3 rule books? Actually, this one's just an encyclopedia of Viking knowledge. So a game that has 2 rule books. Actually, this one's just an appendix which explains what these 3 different decks of cards do, and you only play with one of them at a time. So one pretty big rule book. So my teaching recommendation today focuses on groups of players that have that one person who is like a perpetual question maker. How do you deal with someone who's asking questions all the time? Especially when you're teaching an already long game that'll take you 2, 3, maybe 4 hours for your first play if you're playing with a lot of people. How do you manage it so that the teaching doesn't get bogged down when someone says, oh, let me ask this question, let me ask this question, let me ask this thing that you're probably about to resolve immediately if I just let you continue explaining the rules? My recommendation is that from the beginning, you establish and you say, hey, this is a pretty complex game, and I'm going to teach it to you, right? And I'm going to allow certain points at which I'll ask for questions. But because there's a lot to get through, I want to make sure to cover, sections of it and cover those rules, and then I'll open it up to questions. Then I'll cover another section of the rules, open it for questions, cover another section, and so on. That way, people have the expectation right from the beginning that they can't just inundate you with questions throughout. And what's nice about opening up with this policy is that other people at the table then are kind of given permission by you as the game teacher that if someone starts asking questions, they can say, hey, John, Sally, Bob, Sue, why don't we wait until the next pause point? It works very well, in my experience, to help keep the game explanation going smoothly. You will probably answer questions that people would have asked, and by having designated spots where people can ask questions, maybe some of the quieter people will also feel welcome to ask questions at those points. So if you're going to teach a bigger, heavier game, consider doing that, especially if you don't know the people at the table, or if you do know that John, Bob, Sally, Sally, John, Dick, Sue, whatever, is going to ask questions constantly. Well, that's my teaching recommendation for today. I do highly enjoy A Feast for Odin. Recommend that you try it if it maybe intimidated you, but you were interested. And also, this week, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, you can maybe spot me at SaltCon, the gaming convention in Salt Lake City. If you are there, feel free to say hi to me, give me a high five, or tell me a pun. I'll be your friend. Thanks for coming to the Teacher's Lounge, and have a great day.
For today's game Under the Radar, I'm going to be talking about Battle for Rokugan, and there's quite a few reasons as to why this game had me worried at first. The game looks great, and I'm a big sucker for that. Love the illustration of the artwork there. But let's just start counting down the reasons why I was concerned at first, okay? So first of all, while I love this theme, based on Legend of the Five Rings, by the way, I'm not that familiar with it, with the mythos of that setting, you know, everything that that world entails. And it is a very richly detailed, fantastical world and setting. And so I just felt like, okay, I'm a little bit worried this might be impenetrable for me. So that was the main concern for me. The other thing is, one of the co-designers of the game is Tom Jolly, and I tend to not always enjoy his designs, so I was a little concerned about that. Thirdly, I was not sure that this style of game, which is sort of a negotiation style game, area control, that sort of thing, was going to be to my liking, especially when I've been kind of spoiled lately, and games that have this sort of territory control or conflict come with gorgeous miniatures, right? And so we are, again, in an age of wonder where board games now are fantastically produced and their production values are immense. And so in this game, what you get is, well, tokens. In fact, I have here an entire army in this baggie you can see here. That's all you've got if you are representing this clan, a bunch of tokens. And that just didn't look good. The pictures looked a little underwhelming, let's say. But with all of that out of the way, once I started playing, once I realized that a lot of the game was very psychological, that the theme did draw me in, that this idea of these clashing clans across the map of Rokugan was immersive, then I was hooked. And I did find that the game was very enjoyable and interesting and kept me, sort of excited the whole time, not knowing what reversals of fortune were going to be just around the corner, who was going to betray me, who was going to attempt to control what region, was so-and-so going to actually honor their word and not put a token in my region to attack me. And the bluffing is superb in this game. There's a lot of this, playing your tokens face down, not really being sure what other players intend to do with those tokens, what they actually are. There's even the opportunity to put a token down that is a bluff. An actual blank token does nothing, just looks suspicious. Looks like you're defending yourself. Looks like you're invading or attacking someone else. And then on top of that, you got the cards that sit around the board, and when you control specific regions, you get a little bonus power. This was another concern of mine, variability. How much is different is the gameplay going to stay fresh over multiple plays? And thankfully, I think it does. Because, again, while there are not that many different characters, cards in the game, I do find that a lot of the game happens psychologically between the players. This idea of, you're getting too strong, we need to work against this, invading force that seems to be taking up too much of Rokugan, and this idea of, okay, let's not attack each other because we need to concern ourselves with something else. It's all of this going on among the players. It's not down here on the table, it's up here, and it's between the warriors and the clans. And so I thought that was very, very interesting. So yeah, this is one I certainly was not thinking I was going to enjoy, though I was certainly hoping I would, but I was a little worried about it. And I had also heard that it was a little bit comparable to games that have come out before that deal with a lot of diplomacy with different themes. And I was, thinking, okay, that's not going to be for me, I think. But thankfully, I was very happy to be proved wrong. Battle for Rokugan is an excellent game. It's a fairly quick game. It's one that the amount of components, which is not very many, belies how interesting and engaging the game play and the game experience is. So I would say definitely check it out if you enjoy all of that good stuff. And I will see you next time. Battle for Rokugan. I'm out.
Look what I got.
What's that?
Galaxy Truck, it's awesome. You fly to space, deliver stuff, goods.
No, but didn't Sam and Z talk about it, about double vomiting or something?
No. It was Bloody Joy pandemic. Yeah, pandemic.
Hello everybody and welcome to the life of a board gamer. My name is Daniel and today we are going to fly through space with Galaxy Tracker and deliver some goods from point A to point B. And for that you will need rules. You will need a bunch of rules because this is not just anniversary edition, this is edition with every expansion, so be aware of that. And when you have all the expansions, you have a bunch of boards that will represent your ships that you will try and successfully fly from point A to point B without getting killed by aliens, commandos, or meteors, for example. And to fly these ships, first you have to build them. And how you do that? You get a bunch of these tokens that will represent parts of your ship. Like, for example, there's storage components, there are some batteries, you can fly some extra workers and some purple aliens, for example. There's also engines that you have to have engines to drive your ship. And for all that to be a little bit stressed, you have this little sand timer, so everything doesn't go that smoothly. And when you build your ship and you are finished with it, you have to populate it. For example, if you got some extra aliens, brown one or purple one or whatever one, you get to use those. There's also goods, different color goods that you can transfer throughout the space. There are some batteries and some dice to make decisions where the meteors will probably hit you. And of course there's a bunch of little astronauts that will make that ship work and try to fly it from point A to point B. And as we all know, the space is not just some empty thing that you fly through, and these cards will tell you what it actually is. For example, this one, it tells you it's just an empty space. How ironic. Then what we have are some planets that you will land on and try to collect some goods. There's also aliens that will invade your ship and eat your crew. There's commandos that will try to blow you up. There's meteor storms that will shower your ship with so much damage that you won't believe. And if you manage somehow to stay alive and come to that point B that we are talking about, you will get some credits, hardly earned credits, and the person with most credits will probably be the winner. Not probably, but be the winner. Hello, I'm calling about an ad about Galaxy Tracker. I saw you are selling it. Yes, I would like to buy everything for the game. Yes, everything you have. Right. How will you ship it to me? I'm in Croatia. Seriously, by truck.
Come on, just one more to buy that purse.
Yellow, move 8 and send a friend for ice
Yes! Friend, go to ice cream. Alright, come on, baby, buy that.
cream. Hey, you get a special clearance.
Yes! Oh, hey there. Didn't see you there. This game was from last episode. But today, we're talking about games that we didn't really like at first, but now we like them. Here I have Twixt, published in 1962 by 3M. This is a abstract game in which you're trying to make it from one end of the board to the other before your opponent. Let me set this up and show you how it works. So this is what the game board will look like set up. One player will be red, one player will be black. Here we have a peg, and here we have what they call links. The object of the game is to make it from one end of the board to the other. If you're the red player, you're trying to make it from this border to this border. If you're the black player, you're trying to go from here to here. So every turn you will put a peg of your color on the board. And then it'll be black's turn to put a peg on the board. So to put a link on the board, all you have to do is think of how a knight moves in chess. He's going to move 2 and then 1 in an L shape. So if you have that position there, you're able to put a link down on the board. So over here, I could go 2 and 1 that way and put another link down. And I can go this way, 2 and 1, and put another link down. So that is the basic move. It's called a Twix. So while you're trying to make it across to your side, your opponent can go ahead and block your path. Like so. 1 and 2. Whoops, 1 and 2. So this is called a barrier. So the red player could not move across the barrier. He's going to have to try to find another way out. The strategy comes into play when you can link more than one link in a single turn by the way you put your pegs on. That is where the real strategy of this game really shines. First person to make it all the way across to their border with an uninterrupted links wins the game. I got this game as a gift to try to complete my 3M bookshelf collection, but it literally sat in my collection for about 18 years before I even played it one time. And that's because I'm not a really big fan of abstract games. But in the past couple of years, I really started to open up my horizons, and now I'm starting to play a little bit more abstract games. Well, that's all the time I have for now. May your rolls be high.
Hi, I'm Max from Games for Families.
Hi, I'm John from Games for Families, and this is Gizmo.
Our magic dog has eaten so many games pieces in his short 8-month life that he's able to tell one game from another and which one's better. And so now we're going to find out what he wants to, what his judgment is today in Gizmo Knows.
His judgment is our fruit bowl. Hi, the game that I saw and didn't think I'd like and now really do, it's Mechs vs Minions. So it's based on League of Legends, which is a video game. And when I saw all those little tiny minions inside this massive box, I was like, oh crikey, this is another fantasy game we're going to spend 3 hours playing and not do one single thing that is interesting. And I play the tutorial, and I really liked it. I think it's pretty simple actually for a miniatures game, and it's great fun to have. Maybe not with very, very young children, but maybe if you're about my age, then you would really like it. I really do, anyway. Get a really good robot and go around and punch stuff with it. You know, there are so many days where I just want to get in a robot and punch stuff. Anyway, this is Mechs vs Minions. Gizmo, if you're watching, this is it. Okay?
So, Gizmo, I wasn't expecting to like this game. I saw it at a local board game cafe, Thirsty Meeples, and my daughter actually wanted it because it was making dough and she loves making dough, and I was like, oh, okay, fine. The thing about this game is that you just make a dough model and people guess what it is, and that isn't very interesting, but what is interesting is the way that you have to make the dough model kind of like what it looks like, but not close enough to be easily guessable, and the best way to win is to make these kind of slightly obscure looking models, and that's a really fun thing. The other thing that's really fun is the ability to sort of jump in on other people's goes, and if you've worked out what something is, and you have that kind of this fun sort of funnel thing where you throw in a cube to say, so that kind of gives it that dynamism, which just makes it a really, really fun family light game that we've had a lot of plays from when we actually bought it about 6 months ago, and we've nearly finished the little pads that that come with the game. So that tells you everything you need to know. This is a winner for families, for groups, and I think it's a good game.
You should have said for toy poodles.
Go Gizmo!
Go on, Gizmo!
Where is it? Where is it?
Where is it?
Yeah! It's Dodles! So, it turns out that Dodles is in fact a better game than Mechs vs Minions.
No,
I'm sure that won't be at all controversial in the comments. Please do let us know what you think. Come and join us at Games for Families, and most of all, See you next time.
Hi, I'm Daniele and this is Play Cool. And today we talk about Ethnos. Ethnos is a game in which you try to reach the most points in 3 rounds while collecting cards, sets of cards of the same type, and also with area majority controlling the region of this fantastical, magical world that you live in. This world is composed of 6 regions, and each turn you can decide if to draw a card or play a set from your hand. The game mechanics is very simple, but every time you draw a card from the available ones, from discards of the other players in particular, or if you draw the card from the deck, you may be wasting 1 turn, because only when you play the set of the same type of cards, then you get something done, and the rest of the cards that you haven't used in this set, you're gonna discard for everyone to see and use and draw. This game I hadn't expected to like. I haven't got in my collection, but I was in a group and they told me I could play this. We were 3 people, we tried 1 game. 3 was really a blast. Let's go to the pros and cons. The first pro is you learn it in 1 turn or 2 turns. You understand what you have to do. It's that simple of a game. Another pro that I have for this game is that you can still try and reach a certain goal and try your tactics to reach that. Then obviously the draw of the cards have to help you out, but with this in mind you can still try and use the cards the best way. And what I mean by that is that during your game you have some tribes that you can collect. And this type of cards, tribes, will give you some special effects when you play a set of it. But you can try and use the discards of the other players to go towards your goal most of the times. The cons are very simple. One is that the game, you look at the game and you think, it doesn't look like much. Maybe because I'm spoiled with Simon games, but I expected more. Of a presentation, but this way they can keep probably the price point very low, and the game functions well, the artwork is fine, and the gameplay is great. And another con, which is okay for this type of game actually, is that it is some luck is involved in this game, and as far as I understand, you're gonna lose some game just because you don't draw the cards you need, right? But you can play your hand and have fun with your friends anyway, and it is a game I recommend. So, Ethnos by Simon. Enjoy your game. Ciao.
Welcome to Bickering over board games, where we talk about trends in board gaming and how we feel about them. The theme for the blender this week, I'm gonna go with this week.
Yeah,
okay?
just do it. Don't trip yourself.
Is what is it?
The games that we
that you didn't think you would like, but then you do like, and what did you not like about them? Or what did you think you weren't going to like about them, but you, okay.
For me, there are a lot of games that I don't think I'm going to like, and then I play them, and I like them, but I still don't necessarily want to own them. Blood Rage
I hear what you're
being
saying.
the #1 example. Also, and I do not even... I had more fun playing Chaos Ball this Super Bowl Sunday than I thought that I was going to have.
Yay! Also, another Eric Lang game. I think highly underrated, in my opinion.
So I just think I'm gonna hate Eric Lang games. Is that...
I just think that thematically they're not always your jam,
No,
right?
like...
But I have to say, Chaos Ball, best fantasy sport themed game. Which is probably a combination of your 2 least favorite themes, fantasy and sports. So I was struggling to come up with anything for myself. I tend to know if I'm going to like a game, or if I'm not going to like a game. And I think, and this is the trend that I want to talk about this week, we are not only in an era, I think the best era of board games ever in terms of the games that are being produced, but also it is way easier now to find a good review or like 5 reviews for a board game than ever before.
And I don't get surprised very much by games because A, he does a lot of research, and then also as part of getting me to play the game, there has to be some sort of convincing that I will enjoy the game.
Well, I vet the games. The games. So if the theme's not there, like Pie Town, we both love. And so I will be like, oh, make a game about making pies. This is up Kaylee's alley, and then I'll do a little bit of research on it. I do get exposed to a lot of what's going to be in the box via Kickstarters, via board game, geek pages that I check out before they arrive.
What I'm hearing is that you need to spend less time on those web pages.
I want to be clear that I think that this is a great thing that we have this kind of... I mean, BGG is amazing, and the quality of the reviews that even amateurs like ourselves are putting up is great, but at what cost?
Time.
Well, okay, there's that.
There's definitely a time cost there.
Yeah, I think you spend way too much time on board game sites.
Yeah, definitely. It's me. Games, I spend too much time.
Putting them in your wish list and want to play.
Well, and I mean, that's kind of hard.
Talking about them.
Is because you almost lose... You lose the surprise. I mean...
A little bit. I think that we as board game hobbyists, my side of the couch here, sometimes rob ourselves of that by... I'm trying really hard right now not to learn a lot about Rising Sun, which is still not arrived at my doorstep.
And I think, though, that maybe it is having me around, too, that's forced you to have to kind of get rid of the surprise aspect for yourself.
Because you have to make sure you're going to like it.
Yeah, because if we're going to sit down at the table and I'm going to schedule time to play a game, I want to know that I'm going to like it.
And maybe we should so maybe you need to change.
Maybe I need to change?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, be more open-minded.
Yeah, and spend your time more wisely. Oh, you're not going to cheers to that?
I will.
Okay.
Hi there, it's Stephanie.
And I'm Shelby.
Today we are making my new favorite board game cake of all time.
She always says that.
It's Theodora from Stuffables.
Theodora is so cute.
So when I first got this game for my kids, I was a little bit worried that they were too old for this game because the girl in the story is moving from her baby crib into her big girl bed. And that happened to you like
10 years ago?
A long time ago.
But after playing, I really enjoyed the story and all the different items you can equip your Stuffy with. And I just really love Stuffies.
We love this game so much that we're going to turn it into a cake.
Let's get started.
Okay, here we go. For this cake, we baked vanilla cake with white chocolate buttercream frosting.
We picked vanilla because of stuffing.
We're layering up our cake on a stand I made out of threaded metal rod and pieces of wood, all of which got covered in foil and plastic wrap to make it food safe. And now I begin carving the cake into the basic shape of Theodora.
In this game, Theodora provides leadership to all the Stuffies. That's why we picked her. She's tough and provides encouragement to all.
We continue layering the cake. This part will be her head. And then I carve more cake off the sides and head to make her look more like a bear.
We decided at the last minute to make her legs out of rice cereal treats. This is my favorite part because I got to eat all the extras.
We use the rice cereal treats to build up her legs, and then we cover them in modeling chocolate to make them nice and smooth.
You may not know this, but Theodora is extra special because she is the Stuffy that gets to snuggle with the girl in the story as she sleeps, and that is a great honor.
After I've created her facial features, I begin covering her in more buttercream frosting.
It's time to bring her to life. We next cover her in brown fondant, and we use our cake tools to scratch fur into the fondant.
We continue adding more details like her mouth, more fur, a tear that looks like it was stitched back together, and of course, a heart.
We can't forget her ears and nose. We're using toothpicks to help secure the heavier pieces. Next up are her eyes. Her eyebrows are big and thick, which make her look like she's mean, but she's not mean at all. She's just very serious about protecting her owner from the enemies.
Next, we are adding some shiny glaze to her eyes to make them look more like glass. And now I'm giving her some fondant arms.
She just needs a few more details, like this fondant draped around her neck, a sword, and a yellow measuring tape belt. The final detail. And now I'm adding the stars to the blanket on the board. We're finished. I love her.
Thank you for watching our segment. We hope we have inspired you to make your own baking creation. If you'd like to see every single detail of the making of this cake, you can find that over on our own YouTube channel. If you make any kind of baked treat, be sure to share with us on Twitter. See you next time. Bye!
Hi everyone, Anna here. I am a player that when looking for games to buy, there are two important aspects that I look for in a game, and those are artwork and theme. So there's a group of games that gets passed by me almost every time, and I will call them Stern Looking Man and Maybe a Sheep on the Cover games, better known as Trading in the Mediterranean games.
Anna, wanna play Marco Polo?
No! There is exactly one game in my collection that would fit this category, and that would be Agricola. A game that I don't play that often, but it still holds a very dear place in my heart, and I would never get rid of it because it is one of the first board games that I bought. But let's talk about some games that fit this category that I maybe do not have, but I really did like in the end when playing them. The first game that I wanted to talk about is Castle of Burgundy. I bet that Stefan Feld is a really nice guy, but most of his themes and artwork just feels kind of pasted on, and that's probably the big reason why I haven't played many of his games. But Dave Luza did force me to play Castle of Burgundy, and I was kind of sleep deprived, so I said yes. And I really had a wonderful time playing this game. So now I own the dice variant, which feels a little less fiddly and plays a little bit faster. So I probably have to say thank you to Dave, and maybe you or Mandy could teach me one of other Feld's games. The second game that I wanted to talk about is Targi. What I really like about Targi is that it feels like a complete game for two players. Most of the time, two-player games can be quite light, and it just feels like an incomplete version of a game for more players. And with Targi, that's really not the case. The action selection with the workers, where the workers are standing, the lines where they cross, you are going to do that action, feels really cutthroat and is a very interesting way of action selection. So I really like Targi, and I think you should really try this if you are looking for a two-player game that feels a little bit more deep than other two-player games. Are there some Trading in the Mediterranean games that you have played that you really liked? Maybe we can inspire each other to try these games out and convince that we really have to try this genre of games that maybe we normally overlook. I was Anna, and I hope I will see you next time on Board Game Diagnosis. Bye!
Howdy folks, welcome to Player Showdown. I'm Rebecca, this is Hunter. Today we're going to talk about...
We're talking about games that we were hesitant to play, but when we eventually played it, we loved them. So we're going to open this out with kind of a discussion, because this is almost a whole category of games. We are going to focus in on the game, so stick with us, but we're going to talk about a whole category. So when we first got back into board gaming a lot, we mostly kind of focused in on buying two-player games for us, and then games that play two or more for other players, because we heard that most multiplayer games just are not good two-player. They have weird variants.
Yeah.
Or
the weight changes or something about them to where it's not fun.
Right, and you have dummy players and ghost players and all sorts of weirdness. So we really, when we played stuff together, we really just played two-player games, and so some of our favorites from way back.
Lost Cities, good one. I believe I have a 100% win record.
I don't know if I think I've won it maybe once.
Nope.
But anyway, so we got Jakur, which is another favorite of ours, two-player only trading game.
Very cool. Very cool. Rivals of Catan, one of those little games that takes up a monster table somehow, but is great two-player, right?
Yep. So I mean, that was what we just focused in. When we were playing games, we were mostly playing two-player games. And then we finally just bit the bullet and said, okay, we're going to buy a game that is for 2 or more players, 2 to 4 players.
And try it 2-player.
And we're going to say, we're going to try it out just for us. And
we did that. This was one of the first ones.
Yeah.
And huge success. We love playing this with any player count. The balance is good. We're like, ooh, if this happens, then maybe we can find some more games like that, which has been really nice. So we start branching out, and you can see we kind of kept branching and branching. We're still branching.
So here's the moral of this story before we get to the game we're going to talk about, is if you play games mostly 2-player, do not let popular opinion necessarily sway you into not playing games. There's a game that we wanted to play so bad that we just...
But we couldn't play it consistently with more than just 2 players.
Right.
And we'd heard that it was bad 2 players.
Like almost unplayable 2-player.
Yeah.
And then our good buddy...
Boss! Hi, boss!
Our good buddy, Z Garcia, played this game 2-player and said it works great. And even more so, it works great just playing 1 character each instead of playing multiple characters. And that is our feature game, Pandemic Legacy.
We played it 2-player. It was awesome.
I figure we'll open up the box and show some opponents, right?
Well, no, this is a legacy game.
So?
Oh.
I love this game, and we really should show it off.
I don't think
so. Here we go.
Oh, let's not do that. Don't look. No.
So there's this.
No, there's not this.
Look at this. This is really cool.
I can't believe you're looking at this. Don't show this. You're ruining the game.
There's all
people.
these things.
Where's the surprise?
This is.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm trying to find the most important thing.
No, you don't want to talk about the most important thing.
Look at the board. Look at the board. Look at how cool the board looks when you're done playing. Isn't this awesome?
What is wrong with you?
Look at this.
Spoilers.
Oh, I have it upside down. Sorry. Here you go. Look at this. Look at what happens as you play. Isn't that really amazing?
Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties, folks, but we do highly recommend that you check out Pandemic Legacy, whether it's Season 1 or Season 2. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you.
Hey guys, I'm Ben.
And I'm Tommy.
And we're talking board games.
And we are talking about surprises.
Surprises. Games that maybe we didn't think we'd enjoy, but we actually did.
Yes.
And today on Consider the Comments.
Consider the Comments. Is that what you've decided to call it?
Yes. Hopefully I have a title sequence.
I like he said, she said, but...
I don't like being thought of as a girl.
So let's consider the comments. It's not he said, she said. It's he said, she said.
They don't know that.
And they also don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Like we don't.
No.
But, I mean, you guys can all guess why I did not think that I was going to enjoy this game.
Why did you think you did not enjoy this game?
I thought I wasn't going to enjoy it because it's a cooperative.
It is a cooperative.
So let's get into this. I got somebody who has something to say about that.
Do they? Do they have something to say?
Somebody who has something to say about that. This is from Jason Sastad. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Probably not. We never do.
Cooperative games are not games. They are puzzles. And whether I win or lose against a random, inanimate, unintelligent algorithm, I am left feeling unsatisfied. I'd rather play a one versus all or a team versus team game. This is a rather difficult game.
Yeah.
I think.
No, yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry how you feel about puzzles. Most people enjoy puzzles. My grandma did them up until her dying day.
Sweet Grams.
Sweet Grams. Rest in peace. But
anyway.
Alas, I'm sorry that Jason didn't like the game. Yeah. I, on the other hand, have someone who adores the game.
Oh, that was a 2, by the way.
They rated that a 2?
Yeah, not quite a 1.
You probably saw that. It flashed across the bottom. 2. Yes. I have Van Ritter Games. Oh, it's probably Van Ryder Games.
Van Ryder Games?
They used a Y in Ryder.
Oh, yeah, that's tricky.
Threw me off. Van Ryder Games. He said, "What a game. Certainly it will become a 10 after I experience it more." Space. Enter. Edit. Ha, I was right. Now a 10. And well deserved.
No, it is a really good game. This is
and I've only played this once, but I think this might move up to my favorite co-op spot. Just because
it is a phenomenal co-op.
It is a really good co-op. The player powers are so unique and cool, and the hand management, which I actually think is a little weak for a hand management game.
Your Spirit was one that allowed for phenomenal card play.
This is true. It just seemed like every time that I either played a card or I picked up all my cards, but when I picked up all my cards, I still did something really great. So it didn't seem like
you could play all your cards fast. When you have to play your cards slow or fast, it adds this whole other element of timing into your actions.
I believe it.
And you got to play a lot of cards. That was your guys' thing. He could play 4 cards, right out of the bat almost. Right out of the bat. Right off the gate. Out of the gate. Off the bat.
Right off the bat, right? The ball comes right off the bat.
So, the player powers are so unique. It allows for different ways of playing. And, I think one of the comments I looked at said it's really not that complex as far as what happens.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Let me hear me out. The invaders invade, they build, they ravage, repeat.
Yeah, but it's kind of
that is what you're up against.
Okay, so they invade only when they do this, but then they only ravage when this happens, and if this is going on, then this doesn't happen.
No, that's the thing. What the game does to you is simple. You invade these locations. You build these locations. You ravage these locations. The way that you interact back with the game is where the complexity comes in.
Right.
And so what they've done with this system is really cool.
I love the game.
It is a heavy, meaty, infinitely replayable cooperative game.
This beats my expectations.
We are done with that. No more. We are consider the comments. We did that. It's Spirit Island. Enjoy it.
Yeah, check it out, guys. This is such a great co-op. I wish it played more. And honestly, if you get the expansion, you can play up to 6. I don't know how much longer it would take, but
it's a long game.
It's a great game. It's a great game. Go check it out. We're going to post a video on our channel. You can hear our full thoughts about it, and make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe everything for the Dice Tower, because
they rock.
And roll. All night, sweet Susie.
Okay. All right, we're done.
See you guys.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode of Board Game Blender. As always, I want to give a big thanks to all of my contributors for all their wonderful segments, and a very big thanks to you for tuning in. We appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and as always, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. And hey, stay a friend of the blend. I'll see you next time.